Well, we're just showing you some of the pictures here, Matt, because you can see a few hundred people have gathered here for these celebrations. It may be a bitterly cold day here in Manchester, but I tell you what, that's not putting off people turning out here. We're expecting many hundreds to come here. There's also a Christmas parade in Manchester as well, but lots of road closures, but they have got here, and there is music. We've just had fireworks and singing and chanting. People are just jubilant at this news that they're waking up to today, the toppling of that regime that has been in place for well over half a century. And we've been hearing from some speakers as well, a woman called Amina, and she said she was part of this regime. She had to flee the Syrian regime. She had to flee over here to the UK, and she was in detention for a while. She was passionately speaking about that experience, and 3 of her brothers were killed in that regime. So there's a lot of people affected here in the UK, as you have mentioned there. You know, this has been such a huge regime that has dominated Syria for so many years, and people have come out because they are overjoyed at what's happened. So you can hear now, we've got some drummers starting now, and they're just continuing these celebrations. We know when these sorts of things happen, that when there's been a regime like this that is toppled and that is ended by these rebels that going past us with their flags, that, it can be a honeymoon period, can't there, where there's this regime that's been toppled over, that's been stopped in its tracks at last after 13 years of civil war. And this is what we experience, these jubilant scenes. And we're hoping, the people here certainly are, that this will lead to change in Syria, that they can have more democracy and more stability, certainly. That would be the idea. The eyes of the world are watching what is happening in Syria and what will happen now, who will form the government, who will be in charge. We know the Prime Minister has said that he will help that process. You know that the President has fled Syria. We don't quite know where he has gone, but these people behind me are certainly delighted with that, and that is for sure. And they will hope that this does lead to positivity, to change, and that they can go home. That's what people have been saying here. They want to go home. They've been, taken away from their homes in Syria. They now think that now that this regime has been ended, that could be a possibility for them. They've been ostracised from where they grew up and where their lives were. They were subject to some terrible things. So they will be hoping that things settle down. And certainly that's the hope, isn't it, from world leaders, political leaders. We've been hearing from the UK government, the Deputy Prime Minister. She has been saying to the press today that she hopes for that, for stability, that this, sort of dictatorship, that this awful regime, which has seen so much bloodshed and so many battles and fights and people who have had to flee from their homes, that could be over, that perhaps there could be a new government formed, that the parties can come together and come to some sort of agreement which will mean that there will be peace, that there will be cohesiveness, and that they can come together. But certainly you can see, can't you, Matt, the smiling faces, there's been dancing, fireworks, the flags are flying high. They're certainly feeling extremely happy today. They're going to enjoy that moment for now, at least. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks, months and years, but at the moment they are taking that opportunity to celebrate that news that a lot of them have been waking up to.